Sales in September somewhere south of awful. The biggest plunge in 2 years, falling 1.7%. That's more than double what had been expected. Auto sales, what there were of them, the big problem. President Bush on the bank bailouts, the government is a passive investor. Equity in banks is designed to support free enterprise, he says, not replace it. Confidence and cash, the recipe, which also calls for time and patience.
It's getting pretty bad out here, you know, with when it was $5 a gallon, I was averaging about $1 a mile, and it's just unreal. My fuel bill is probably about 60 grand a year, you know, and I'm an owner operator, and the way they got it set up for us, I run around with no health insurance, no benefits, and for like ever since the fuel went through the roof, you know, I haven't even paid my Social Security, so I basically don't even have no retirement. Yeah, and I'm going for, you know, anywhere from 30 to 90 days at a time, and when I do go home, I may be home 10 days, 12 days a year with my family. Got a wife and 3 kids. It's just crazy.
I know you wanna know about my 4 pockets of silver and gold.
Well, just like when I first started farming, there was several grain elevators scattered around the country. Now we're down to 1 or 2 that you can take your grain to. And beef packers, there used to be a lot of beef packers in the nation. Now we're down to 4 or 5, and one company is getting ready to buy out 2 more, so that means we're getting down to 3 or 4. When you have a big company that manufactures the majority of the fertilizer in the world, they can tell you what they'll sell it for, and they don't have any competition to make them be honest. And it looks like that's what's happened with maybe to an extent oil too. You get down to 4 or 5 companies that are the only people you can buy from. Well, you lost your competition. You know, the competition is what keeps other people honest, or keeps their prices in line.
Here in New York, hundreds of people rallied across from the New York Stock Exchange Thursday against the Wall Street bailout. Amid signs reading jail time for corporate crime, independent presidential candidate and longtime consumer advocate Ralph Nader singled out New York Stock Exchange CEO Duncan Niederauer.
And so I say that Wall Street is the wall that locks the American people out of their own government. It's the wall that locks the American people from the wealth they own but do not control.
Water rose 20 feet here. So pretty much all these homes were just completely underwater.
Yeah. We lived here prior to Katrina 38 years. 2 years after Katrina, we're still living in the FEMA trailer at the lot, and we're not going anywhere.
The economy now, the bailout, any thoughts?
Well, it's ironic that it only took them 2 weeks to issue a $700 billion check. It took them 3 years after Katrina, and this is what you see. That was Miss Jackson's driveway. That was Miss Broomfield's driveway. That was Mr. Leggett's driveway. That was Miss Gloria's driveway. So basically, every house, every family that's gone actually was a family that should be here now. And if they would have been given the money in 2 weeks like they did in Congress, the way they did in Wall Street, then every last one of these families would have rebuilt their houses. Then this whole Gulf Coast area would have been rebuilt, because everybody in the Gulf Coast is basically like the people down here, family first.
No, you know why we came here, to be honest with you? Because we thought there was going to be a lot of work. And then the economy here, when you work for them, they only want like, what, $6, $7 an hour? You can't live off that. That's why we're homeless. We're homeless. You know, you're not going to get an apartment here making $6, $7 an hour.
shelter whatsoever.
No.
No shelter.
You can go eat
No
at
money,
a
no
couple
shelter,
places, but there's not a shelter.
No nothing.
They need to bring the jobs back. That's what they need to do. I mean, I go to everybody every morning. Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, the job market.
We're not dumb or bums or anything. Just,
No, we are
there's
bums.
nothing to do. Can't work anywhere. There's no work. That's the problem.
We got to ask people for money just to get something to eat. And that's true. I'm going to ask you too when you leave.
People are out for the big dollars, just like here in Biloxi and Mississippi. They're after, the casinos are after the tourists and the money. So the rest of the people have to suffer because the casinos want the money. That's a lot of it.
No, it's not just states, the whole country.
Well, yeah, not just
You know
here,
what I mean?
everywhere else too, not just here. There's other people that suffer, it's not just here.